subscribe and tap the bell right now. Twice a day, we bring you the real code of the samurai, not paraphrased, not softened. Inazo Nitobe calls loyalty, the keystone making feudal virtues a symmetrical arch, the single virtue that holds every other part of the structure in place, defined plainly as homage and fealty to a superior. Of everything on his full list of 8, this is the one modern readers tend to flinch at hardest, and honestly so. A code that asks you to place someone else's claim on you above your own convenience can curdle, in the wrong hands, into blind obedience dressed up as virtue. We've already covered the actual mechanics of how 47 of Asano Naganori's former retainers planned and carried out their long, 2-year act of loyalty in a separate dedicated video elsewhere on this channel. This one is about the virtue itself, examined on its own terms, what genuinely separates real loyalty from simple obedience, and why Nitobe placed it directly at the center of the entire arch rather than off to one side of it. Start with the distinction Bushido actually drew, because it's easy to miss under the more dramatic surface of the story. A servant who does whatever he's told, without ever weighing whether the instruction is right, isn't practicing loyalty in Nitobe's sense, he's practicing something closer to rectitude's opposite, letting someone else's authority substitute for his own reasoned judgment. The 47 weren't following an order at all. Their own lord was already dead by the time they acted. There was no one left to command them to do anything. What they were honoring was a debt they concluded, independently and through their own reasoning, that they owed regardless of whether anyone was left alive to collect it. That's a meaningfully different thing than obedience, and it's the distinction Nitobe's definition is actually pointing at, fealty freely reasoned toward, not fealty extracted by rank. This is also why loyalty sits fused so tightly to rectitude in Bushido's structure, rather than functioning as an independent virtue you could practice in isolation. A warrior loyal to a genuinely unworthy cause, simply because a superior demanded it, wasn't demonstrating the virtue at all, he was demonstrating its counterfeit. Real loyalty, in this account, required rectitude to have already done its work first, and honest, reasoned judgment that the cause actually deserved the debt being paid to it. Only once that judgment was settled did the demand for unwavering follow-through, the part everyone remembers about the 47, actually apply. Skip that first step entirely, and what merely looks like loyalty from the outside is often just plain compliance wearing its borrowed clothes. It's worth sitting with the actual weight this virtue was asking someone to carry, because the debt in question was rarely convenient and never brief. 2 years of a debt that outlasted every incentive to simply let it go. A debt held quietly, without applause, while everyone watching assumed it had already been abandoned. Bushido never pretended this was easy, and Nitobe doesn't either. The same passage that calls loyalty the keystone also concedes, honestly, that taken to its extreme this virtue produced some of the darker chapters in samurai history, men who followed unworthy lords into genuinely unworthy causes. The code isn't cleaner than the history that produced it. What it offers instead is a demanding standard for telling the two apart, a debt reasoned toward independently, versus one merely inherited from rank. That distinction is worth applying directly to obligations that have nothing to do with feudal Japan. Most people carry debts to other people, a promise made, a trust extended, an obligation accepted before they fully understood its cost, and most of those debts eventually get tested by exactly the condition Bushido cared about most, whether keeping the debt is still convenient. Bushido's own answer was never that convenience should be allowed to decide that question for you. It was that you decide, once, through honest reasoning about whether the debt is genuinely owed, and then you hold to that decision regardless of what convenience does afterward. That's a far higher bar than simply doing what's asked of you, and it's also the only version of loyalty durable enough to survive 2 years of nobody watching. There's a specific reason the 47th version of this virtue reads as more demanding than almost any other example in the entire Bushido tradition, and it's worth being precise about what that reason actually is. Most tests of loyalty are acute, a single dramatic moment where the right thing and the easy thing diverge clearly, and you either choose correctly or you don't. What the 47 faced was different, a chronic test, stretched across 2 years, where the temptation wasn't one large dramatic failure but 1,000 small ones. Give up the plan quietly. Let the debt fade the way debts naturally do once enough time passes and nobody's checking. Decide that 2 years of humiliation was punishment enough already, and that honor had been satisfied by the attempt alone. Bushido's standard rejected every one of those quieter exits, and the genuine difficulty of the story isn't the single night of action everyone remembers, it's the 2 years of not taking any of the easier ways out that were available the entire time. This also explains why loyalty, examined honestly, is usually harder to sustain in ordinary life than in a single crisis. A crisis produces its own adrenaline, its own clarity, its own audience watching to see what you do. An ordinary debt, held quietly over months or years with nobody checking whether you're still honoring it, gets none of that help. It has to survive on nothing but the original reasoning that made you take it on in the first place, which means the actual discipline Bushido is describing isn't dramatic willpower in a single defining moment. It's the much quieter, much harder work of not letting an unwatched debt quietly evaporate simply because evaporating it would currently be more convenient than keeping it. What makes this virtue worth taking seriously today isn't the specific historical circumstances that produced it. Nobody reading this owes a debt requiring their own life to settle. It's the underlying discipline, reasoning honestly about what you actually owe, to whom, and then refusing to let time, inconvenience, or the absence of anyone checking in on you quietly erode a debt you already concluded was real. Loyalty, in Bushido's actual account, was never really about who happened to be watching at any given moment. It was about whether the underlying debt still genuinely held up, on its own reasoned merits, at the exact moment nobody was watching at all, which is the only condition under which a debt like that is ever really tested in the first place. Subscribe now and turn on notifications. Twice a day, we bring you Bushido straight from the source, the real words of the man who actually wrote the code down, and the real warriors who lived it.